Okay, thank you everybody very much for your patience. We're going to get started now. Now you'll have to, I'm going to apologize ahead of time tonight because I've got a lot of information to flick between on my tablet. So if I get lost with any information, I apologize for any delays. Okay, so tonight we're going to be looking at comedy. So with comedy, we're not really looking for, oh, sorry, I wouldn't particularly classify comedy as a plot. I'd classify it more as a genre. So rather than learning about how to structure a comedy story, we're going to look for some ways that we can maybe put some more jokes into our stories, make them a bit funnier, and yeah, just explore how we can use humor and comedy when we're telling stories. So we're going to be looking at comedy. Uh, okay, so welcome to lesson 6. Not last week, sorry, the week before we were talking about voyage and return stories. So just quickly, who can tell me something about voyage and return stories? Who remembers a part of the... Yes, Lamb.
The voyage and return story have four plots: the dream, the frustration, the nightmare, and the thrilling escape and return.
Very good. Very good.
And and the voyage and return story, just like the quest story, but it's return to the end.
That's right. Very good. So a voyage and return story is very similar to a quest. The main difference is the quest story is about the journey to get to where you're going, and a voyage and return is more about what happens once you get there. So you'll remember that in the voyage and return, it was usually some kind of teleportation or some kind of magic that ended our character up where they were going to have their voyage and return. So very good, Lamb. That was a very good description and summary of the voyage and return stories. Does anybody else have something they would like to add to what Lamb said? Okay, Lamb, I think you said it all. Good job. So let's move into getting some comedy happening now. Who has a funny story or a funny joke that they would like to share with the class? Let's see if you can get us all to laugh. Does anybody have a joke or a funny story they'd like to share? Kevin, very good.
Yes. Uh, Wait a minute till I read this. Uh, this is my story. Yes. Once upon a time in the earth, a guy dies, and after he dies, he is sent to the hell like other dead people in the world. Then when he arrives for the hell, Satan meets him, shows him doors to three rooms in the hell, and Satan says, that this guy must choose one of three rooms to spend eternity in. When they go to the first room, people in people in the room are standing in that up to the neck. To the neck. The guy says, "No, let me see the next room, please." Then, in the second room, people in the room are standing in dirt up to the nose. When the guy sees that, he says no again. Finally, Satan opened the third door to the guy's seat. People in this room are standing with dirt up to their knees, drinking coffee and eating parties, and they are very enjoy about that. The guys, when see this, quickly says to Satan, "I will pick this room to stay." Santa answers okay and start to leave the room. And the guy uh, start pouring some coffee. On the way out, Satan yells to all the people in the third room. "Okay, coffee break is over right now. Everyone pat on your head, please." And man started to drink the coffee when he Satan said that. He says, "What the hell is happening? Oh, you mean that we will pop our head down the floor? No way." Yes.
Oh, that was a that was a good try, Kevin. That was a good try. I think in future you might have to work on your delivery, how you say the jokes. But good try, Kevin. Thank you. Lamb, let's hear a joke from you.
The story that talks about my bed. Uh, One upon a time, when I was brush my teeth, then go to sleep, I saw a very exclusive and giant hill on my bed. I think someone is in it. So next morning, I I go to the nurse to find what is going on. But I think I'm crazy because why the big hill is is the big problem to tell the nurse. And the nurse also helped me and don't realize my grade. So she said my bed was very old. So I need to buy a new one. That's good news.
That is good news. That's very good news. Okay, so let's have a look now. Whoops, Sonny, do you have a joke or a story you'd like to share? A joke or a funny story?
Yeah, I like so. It like the thief is coming to home and then but the thief see that this family are very poor. So what can the thief steal from the family and they see the poor family is eating a noodle. He not steal, but he gave this family a big cable and an iPhone, and then like the family have the very poor iPhone, and he gave to the thief, and the thief have his iPhone is very pro than that, so he trades that, and it's like a thief is not steal, but the thief is very kind. The thief is like helping the poor family.
Well, you guys certainly do not lack imagination. I will give you guys that much. You certainly have very active imaginations. We'll go two more. Kevin first.
Yes.
Do you have another joke you'd like to share?
No, only this.
Ah, no worries. Lamb.
Another joke is about a fly who, uh, who forgot his name. Once upon a time, there was a fly who likes to work and help others. On a festival day, um, the fly was interesting about the festival, so it's go and asking everyone what's going on. But it doesn't know what its name to introduce with everyone, so it's forgot its name.
Okay, well, good try, Lamb. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on now. So, the first thing that I would like to talk to you about is so elements of comedy. So these are the things that we need to, these are the important things that we need to consider when we are going to try to write a story that's got lots of comedy and lots of jokes in it. Um, Okay, so tonight, as you know, we're doing comedy. Next week, we'll be doing tragedy. And the reason that I wanted to tell you that is because I want you to kind of consider comedy and tragedy to be the complete opposite of each other. So, comedy is more light-hearted and happy, will usually have a happy ending to it. A tragedy is usually a sad story. Lots of sad things happen. It usually has a sad ending. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to let you know that because that will also help you with your ideas for tragedy next week too. So I've got a list of a few things that I think are important when we're trying to write a comedy. Now, this is not necessarily the jokes themselves. This is not anything to do with that. This is just details about the story that we should consider if we're going to write a story with lots of jokes in it. Excuse me. So I'll actually super quickly start a whiteboard. Okay. Okay. So the first thing we need to consider when we're writing a comedy story or a story with lots of comedy in it is substance. So I'm just going to write this down, then we can talk about it for a moment. Okay, so the first one is substance. Um, excuse me. So substance is pretty much the all of the specific details about the story. So the decisions you make about the characters, the events that happen in the story, um, and even your choice of words. So things like your tone. Are you being, happy and light when you write your story, or does your story have a lot of big serious words in it? So that's something you want to consider when you write a comedy. You don't want to make the story too deep and dark and sad, uh, because you'll make it a lot harder for your audience to find your jokes funny then. Okay, so number two is communication. And when we talk about communication, uh, we mean this specifically in the sense of comedy in this instance, but this is your ability to tell your readers what is funny. So, what's funny about what's happening in your story? Why should they laugh? And when I say that, I don't mean to actually explain it to your reader. So don't write, this is funny because this happened and blah, blah, blah. Um, these are things you want to consider before you write the story to make sure the jokes are funny. Um, and yeah, so this can come down to, details in your story, like how is your character feeling? And how do you want that to affect your reader? Because there have been a lot of situations where something funny will happen and everybody is in on the joke, everybody gets to laugh together. And, those are good jokes. But there are also jokes, there are also things that can happen that are funny that happen at somebody's expense. So maybe you're walking next to your friend and they're looking at you so they don't see and they walk into a light post. That hurts your friend. Like your friend's going to have a sore head. They might be a bit embarrassed or upset or angry because they walked into the light post, but you might find that funny. So there are situations when, maybe your character's getting frustrated by something and that's what's so funny. Um, So yeah, and so your ability to communicate those things or those details is what's going to help make your jokes very funny. Lamb, yes. Do you have a question?
Fun fact. Fun facts about comedy story. The
Go on.
comedy story was the first time made on ancient Greece. And
That's right.
who make is it's interested is Charlie Chaplin.
Did you know? Let me see if I can find it here. Comedy has its roots in that come from the Latin word commedia, which actually means to reveal information while singing. Because a lot of comedy used to be very musically based a long time ago. But nowadays, obviously, comedy can be words, it can be actions, it can be music. There's lots of different things comedy can be. Okay, so number three is nice and simple. Originality. So the more people hear something, the less they find it funny. So don't steal other people's jokes. Think of and create your own. Um, so yeah, have you ever seen, have you ever seen a movie or a TV show and had something funny in it and you laugh a lot and then you decide you're going to tell one of your friends when you see them and you tell them the joke and they just don't think it's very funny? That also can happen a lot of times. A joke made by somebody else won't always sound funny when it's told by you, or a joke that you make might not sound so funny when somebody else tells it. So yeah, if you create your own jokes, you're able to deliver them in a way that you can make them funny. So that's the importance of number three. Be original. Don't copy other people's jokes. Okay, number four is timing and rhythm. Now, this one is going to be, I can explain it to you, but you'll understand it much better if you were to go onto YouTube and watch some stand-up comedy. Watch people telling jokes, and then you'll understand what I mean when I say comedy has a flow to it. It needs to have a certain timing and a certain rhythm. And that's more to do with if you were speaking the joke, so you're writing the jokes to like tell them to somebody. But it can still have an effect in a story. So you just want to make sure that you're punctuating your jokes correctly. So yeah, because if you tell a joke too quickly or you take too long, a joke can lose its impact and the audience may lose their interest. So yeah, study up and learn about the timing and the rhythm of comedy and doing jokes, and it will make comedy so much easier. Okay, so point number 5 is intelligent writing. So jokes need to be well thought out, have a clear punchline, and they need to be appropriate for their audience. So if I was going to tell this class a joke, I would not make it a joke that had a lot of swear words in it because it's not appropriate for me to be using that kind of language in the presence of children. In fact, it would be very bad manners on my part to do that. So I would need to make sure that my jokes are appropriate. Bathroom humor is only funny in certain situations, so use it wisely. So if you, just for an example, had to write a speech to deliver in front of, say, the president of Vietnam and the Vietnamese government, so really important, high-ranking people, you probably wouldn't want to tell a whole lot of bathroom jokes. So, nothing about farts, poos, wheeze, nothing like that. Because it's very lowbrow. It's not clever. It's not, how do I put it? That sort of stuff can be funny, but again, in the right situations, you don't people can think that sort of stuff is rude. So you don't want people thinking you are rude in those situations. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and number six is the setting. So this refers to the location and anything else regular about your story. So, that may be locations that the characters in your story always go to. That might be the characters that are in most of or every scene of your story. Just what is going to be regular and familiar for your audience, because regularly reoccurring characters and locations, they can help your audience to want to pay more attention to your stories. Because, if they read about the same few characters enough, they start to almost build a bond with those characters. They start to invest in those characters, and they start to care about those characters. And it's when they care, that's when you're going to have an audience of people that just want to read all of your stories. Okay, so those are the six basic elements of comedy that I want you to consider. Okay. So, we are going to change up slightly the interactive discussion. Instead, I'm going to read you guys. I'm going to read you guys some jokes. And then let's see if we can think about why some of these jokes are funny. Okay. Oh no, those jokes are terrible. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys a few jokes and let's try and think about why these jokes might be considered funny. Oh gosh, the turtle burger story. I can't even remember how that started now. Okay. What is a tornado's favorite game to play? What was the tornado's favorite game to play? Who reckons they know? Do you know, Sunny?
I know some turtle burger story.
All right, well, I'm looking for the answer to my joke at the moment. And the answer is Twister. What was the tornado's favorite game to play? Twister. Uh, Twister is a board game. I don't know if you guys get it in Vietnam. It's this crazy game where you spin this little wheel and all your hands and your feet are on this big board with different colored dots on it. And wherever the spinner lands, you just got to keep moving your hands and your feet to the different locations. You verse your friends, and whoever falls over first wins. It's good fun. Okay, so what might be considered funny about that joke? So what we're doing now is we're listening to these jokes and we want to think about why might those jokes be considered funny? So who reckons they have an idea? Why would that joke be considered funny? Sunny. Oh,
So
no,
I
put a
think it like some question that is it very exciting, and it like don't people don't know the answer already and they want to guess that. And
good.
like the tornado can't play. It's like go twist and twist, it can't play, so like we have to do the tornado is like people. So it's so fun.
Almost. So we see at the bottom of the slide here, we see the word wordplay. That's why that joke would be considered funny, because it's a bit of wordplay. So twister is a type of a twister is a certain type of tornado. And the board game Twister, obviously, it was named after that tornado. So it's just a bit of a play on words. So that's why that joke could be considered funny. All right. What does bread do on holiday? What does bread do on holiday? Loaf around. So that's another example of wordplay, because to loaf around means just be lazy, lay around on the couch, do nothing, watch TV, be a couch potato, basically. That loaf around. And obviously, you've got a whole loaf of bread. So that's the joke there in that instance. Yes, Sunny.
I think the bread is like a cookies that who once baked in Christmas, and like well, like a story. Who was the like a magic is in the like in the bread, and the bread can run through this river, and he like his adventure, and grandparents keeps like chasing the bread. It's like
Very,
Christmas holiday.
very good. Very good. Okay. So the next thing then that I would like to do is, let me find here. So the next thing I'd like to talk to you about is something called comedic structures. So a comedic structure is basically a different way to tell a joke, or it's a different method of telling jokes. So the first one, situational comedy. Has anyone ever heard of that before? Situational comedy? You also might have heard of a type of TV show called a sitcom. Has anyone ever heard of a sitcom before? So sitcom is short for situational comedy, and it's shows like, trying to think of some, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, if you've ever seen that before. That is a sitcom. Or The Big Bang Theory, that's a sitcom. Young Sheldon, that's another sitcom. Yes, Sunny.
Can you type it in a chat box and can research that? Type it in the chat box. Can research.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Sorry, guys. I am just writing up a definition of situational comedy. So, a situational comedy is a series of stories in which a group of people are usually in the same location for most of it. Maybe like an office or a school or a shop. Um, okay. Okay, so if you're all interested in checking out some sitcoms to learn a bit more about, yeah, to learn a bit more about uh, what they are, how they work, um, then I've given you a list of some to check out there. Friends, oh, beautiful work, Lamb. Friends, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Community, Black Books, Arrested Development, The IT Crowd. Very good. Very good. Good work, Lamb. Okay, so that is a sitcom. Generally speaking, any problems or funny situations in sitcoms, they generally get fixed by the end of each episode. They're usually TV shows about half an hour long per episode, and all of the problems usually get fixed by the end of each episode. And there's usually a lot of funny jokes. All of the characters trying to be funny and say funny things to each other. It's quite good. I recommend if you like laughing, um, sitcoms are a great type of show to check out. Okay, next up we have satire. Now, satire is a type of humor. It's a way to tell a joke. It relies on irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity, bad decisions, particularly in the context of politics. So, if you ever pick up a newspaper, at least all of the newspapers that we get over in Australia do this. They'll usually have some political cartoons, and the cartoons will usually they will not make the people that they are making fun of, they will not make them look very good. So maybe those people made a bad decision. Maybe they didn't have their citizens' best interests at heart when they made a decision in the government. Maybe they're just really stupid and they shouldn't be working for the government. Those sorts of things are what a satirist would make fun of if they were writing something satirical. Another thing can be it can just be making fun of somebody or making fun of something. The best. Hang on, let me just write this out.
Yeah.
Okay, so satire. We've got humor using irony, exaggeration, or ridicule, so making fun of somebody to expose somebody's stupidity or bad decisions. It's most commonly used in it's most commonly used in politics. Uh, Parody, not satire. Sorry. All right, now the last one that we have to talk about this evening is wordplay. So there are lots of different technique. There are lots of different things that you can lots of different wordplay techniques that you can employ when trying to write a comedy. So the first one that I will talk to you about is called a spoonerism. And this is where you go to say two words. So when you're saying a sentence, but you get the first letters of two of the words in it mixed up. So I might say something like, hang on. So this is an example of a spoonerism. I may mean to say I may mean to say a flock of bats, but I may actually get my tongue twisted up and I may say a block of flats. It sounds very similar, and you can use a little mix up like that. You can tell a pretty good joke sometimes using that. Another technique we've got. Okay, the next technique that you can use is called a malapropism. And this is where you use a similar sounding but wrong word in a sentence. So an example would be if if we were watching some Spanish dancing, for example, I might say she's an incredible flamingo dancer. But that's wrong because a flamingo is a big pink bird. The type of dancing is actually called flamenco dancing. So if I accidentally say the wrong word there, so yeah, that is called a malapropism. And you can have a lot, you can tell a lot of good jokes using techniques like that. Sunny.
The first joke that I want to have you is what burger that people can't eat that. What burger that people can't eat.
Very good, Lamb. Very good. So, okay, Sunny, what type of burger can people not eat?
A dirt burger.
I reckon people could eat a turtle burger, actually. It'd just have to be cooked.
Yeah, I know a funny joke. Student in public speaking always have interval and you laugh a lot.
Pardon?
In public speaking, all the student always remember of turtle burger and you laugh a lot.
Oh, bless. Okay, so the last example of a of wordplay I will give you is called a portmanteau.
Teacher, can I show one more joke about that? And it like you, it's similar to you.
All right, you can tell another joke if you've got
And
one
like
while
an
you're
English
typing it
teacher
down.
wrote these words on the whiteboard. Woman without her man is nothing. And the teacher then asked the student to punctuate the word correctly. And the student is a boy, wrote, woman without her man is nothing. But the girl wrote, woman without her man is nothing. Oh man.
Oh, very good, Sunny. Thank you. Okay, guys, so the last example that I've got for you is called a portmanteau, which is combining two words to make a new word. So originally when video cameras came out, they were commonly referred to as camera recorders. But eventually they combined camera and recorder to make camcorder. So that became the very popular new way, the popular new word to say video camera. Or if you combine smoke and fog, you get smog. So that's how we got the word smog as it refers to heavy air pollution. It's a combination of smoke and fog. So yeah, we have lots of these little techniques with wordplay that we can use as well. And again, like all I can really do is point you in the right direction to these techniques. It's really up to you guys to practice with them, make them. Yeah, like it's really up to you to practice these techniques and get good at using them. No. No, lamb. That is not that would not be considered a portmanteau because you see book and shop equals bookshop. That is just a contraction. Whereas camera, or so camcorder or smog, you see there are actually missing letters. So letters from each of the words that they take out when they combine them, and that makes the new word. So slightly different to the idea of bookshop. But I like the way you're thinking, Lamb. That's good. Okay. Very good. That's it, Lamb. Those are all portmanteaus. Okay, so I'd like to just share with you guys just to wrap up, just a couple of more. Okay, so I'll tell you a few of them that you can use. So the first one is called a double entendre. Okay, so a double entendre is a sentence that is ambiguous or bland enough, not enough detail, that it could mean two different things. One of those things is innocent,
Ở bên bên đỡ kem hai đâu rồi? Bên
and
đỡ
the
kem
other and the other can be cheeky or naughty in meaning. So I'll give you an example. Okay, so an example of a double entendre would be a football coach was having a terrible season. When he was asked for his opinion concerning the execution of the offense, he replied, I'd be fine with that. That is actually quite a good joke. But the reason that that's so funny is because of so hang on a second. So the term that can have two meanings in that joke is execution of the offense. So the first meaning of execution of the offense can just refer to that team running a play to score some points. So putting their plan into action. They're executing their offense, their moves to score their points. Uh, so the second meaning is that execution is also, well, I mean, I'm sure you've all heard that term before. Execution, get executed. It means to get killed. Or it's a way to get killed. And offense can also mean the members of the team that score the points. So now we have our two meanings. When the coach said he would be fine with the execution of the offense, the joke there was that he would be fine if his team would do the plan and score the points, or he would be fine if the offensive part of his team got killed. Which, of course, he is just joking when he says that. That's why it's funny. So, does that make sense? How a sentence can have two different meanings? One can be innocent, and the other one can be a bit cheeky or a bit naughty. So that's what a double entendre means. Uh, okay. The last one that I'll tell you about tonight, and then we'll finish up. Okay, and the other one is called the reverse. And this is when a joke leads you to think option A is the punchline, but then the joke flips and makes the punchline option B, which you were not expecting. So another way to make your audience laugh is basically make them think that you're going in one direction, but then at the last minute you change direction and catch them by surprise, and that shock can make them laugh a lot. I'll give you an example of that.
What is
Okay, so my daughter kept crying because she couldn't tie her shoes. Dad, I can't do it, she said. I replied, I keep telling you to not use that word. I'm not your dad.
Are you acting?
Excuse me. Still got a bit of a chest thing at the moment. Excuse me. But the reason that that's so funny, and I think that joke is just absolutely hilarious. But the reason that that joke is funny is because when he says, "I keep telling you to not use that word," our our initial thought is, "Oh, he's trying to be really positive with his daughter. He's trying to tell her, don't use the word I cannot. Don't say I can't do it. We find a way to do it." So you think he's going to be very, very positive, but then when he says, "Don't use that word, I'm not your dad," that just came out of the blue. And sometimes a shock like that can make your audience laugh a lot. But yeah, so definitely I would recommend checking out some stand-up comedians. Make sure you search for stand-up comedians that are appropriate. Don't look for the ones with bad language. There are lots of very, very funny and very clean stand-up comedians. Start with them. All right, so that is actually going to take us to the end of our lesson this evening. I'll assign your homework in the Zalo group. So class is finished now. I'll assign you a homework task in the Zalo group. So keep your eyes peeled, and I'll see you all next week. So yeah, just make sure that you. I'll send you guys a copy of the. Why is it short? It's not short. We've gone 20 minutes longer than we normally do.
Teacher, can I go now?
You can. So I'm gonna post your homework assignment in the Zalo group. I'll see you all next week. Good night, everybody.
Goodbye. Goodbye, teacher.